Oh, yeah.
22nd. Are we on? Okay, good evening and welcome to the November 22nd, 2021 City Council meeting for the City of Lamar. I'm Mayor Kirk Crespin. To start off with, I just want to reiterate, right now we have been having quite a surge in COVID cases around the community. I know I myself have had a family member that has recently passed away from that, as well as my wife who has tested positive for that. So we've been going through testing and checking and double checking through our household and trying to make sure that everybody's safe. But along those same lines, no matter what your point of view is, whether it's, mask, anti-mask, vaccination, anti-vaccination, I guess what I wanted to ask you tonight is just take the precautions that you need to make sure that, if you're sick, stay home. If you're not feeling well, stay away from other people. Just do the common courtesy things that we all try to do. So it really doesn't, this doesn't have anything to do with your own personal beliefs. It's just a personal courtesy. Let's, to try to slow this down in our community and keep us from having any other extenuating circumstances. So with that said, we're going to move on to the meeting. Start off with the invocation. We have Jeff Alexander here tonight. Jeff.
Our Heavenly Father, we are very grateful for the opportunity to be able to call upon you in these days, in this hour. Father, you are on the throne and you are over all things. We pray tonight, particularly for our community, and we understand there's a surge in the COVID virus. We pray, Father, that your healing hand would be upon those people, and Lord, for those who have lost loved ones, that your Spirit would comfort the hearts of their families and friends. Lord, we pray for this meeting tonight in particular. Lord, there are many serious issues that are facing our community, and we need your will to be done and your guidance in the procedures of dealing with these things in order that righteousness may prevail in our land. For righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. So, Father, we ask for wisdom and guidance from your hand tonight upon our city council and our mayor and the city officials. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Oscar, would you lead us to the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Mike Bellamy,
Here.
Jerry Jenkins,
Here.
Kurt Crespin,
Here.
Oscar Riley,
Here.
Manuel Temez,
Here.
Anne Marie Crampton,
Here.
Rob Evans,
Rob, are you online?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Quentin McCray,
Here.
Lance Clark,
Here.
Yeah, we've all received the consent agenda. Have you had a chance to look that over? Are there any items that need to be separated?
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
unanimous in favor of.
Next item on the agenda is the public comment section. This is for audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and it would be at the discretion of the city council. Is there anybody who would like to address the city council tonight?
I would.
Okay, if you'd like to come up and just state your name and address. Give me 1 second, I was getting my timer set so we can do that, right?
I'm Twyla Batterton, and I live at 1903 South 10th Street. And I have this article I would like the board to read. It's 2 pages. And it was in People's Magazine, October 25th. And it is talking about the high potency marijuana product that everybody's wanting to pass, or it has passed in Lamar. I think you guys need to take a very good look at this before you make some of your decisions. And I'd like you guys to read it. It's 2 pages. I don't need the magazine back because I read it. I have a hard time with this because I am allergic to it. Before Kurt Crespin was voted in mayor, I talked to him at Community Bank about the hemp thing behind his place. And he said they were going to have filters and they were going to have this and they were going to have that. Well, that's fine and dandy, but the filters didn't work. And only if you're allergic to this do you know this. But I would have to cover my face. Well, I drove through Maine from, I think it's Maple Street to clear over the bridge. Because I am very, very sensitive to hemp, marijuana, anything that has to do with it. I am now having to, people go, oh, try this. I go, does it have hemp in it? Well, yeah. I said, I can't. I'm allergic to it. So it's very deadly for me. I have to carry an emergency inhaler with me at all times. Because I could literally die from it just by somebody walking by and having it so bad. So I would appreciate it if you guys would just read it. It's 2 pages. That's all it is, 2 pages. And this actually happened in Aurora, Colorado. This lady's son, whose picture was on high potency marijuana for 5 years. I'm not sure if it was in Aurora, if it was in Lone Tree. He drove up in the parking complex, went up to the very top, got out of his car, walked over to the edge, and jumped to suicide. And the mother is blaming the high potency. He even got a prescription for medical marijuana. Well, the medical marijuana now is 90% THC. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. But I've done some checking into all this stuff. So I would appreciate it if you guys would just read this 2 pages.
If you could leave that with Linda here, I'll ask Linda to scan it and send it to all of the council.
Okay, I
Is that
don't.
okay?
Thank you.
We'll scan it and send it out to the council so that way everybody can read it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council on any subject that's not on the agenda?
I'm on the number 4, we're going to talk about the, marijuana election. I reserve that time for that.
Well, that one's a different, it is a topic about the election results, but it's not anything for a public. So I would say if you'd like to speak, that would probably be good now.
We'll do it then or now?
Now, because that's more of a council discussion as far as planning and what needs to be done and.
Thank you very much. My name is Belinda Sturgis, and I have an office here in Lamar, work in Lamar in town about 2 days a week, and then I spend the rest of the time at Branch. And I have some questions about the election process. So really, there's a lot of questions here, so if you would be patient with me. One of them was how much deposit was required when you certified the petition for circulation and who paid for it, or who are you billing now? Because the petition itself didn't have anybody's name who was carrying it. So can you help me with that, please?
So obviously, this is a contentious issue. And so I think council at this point is basically, their position on it is that it's being reviewed by legal. You can make comments tonight on anything you want, but this isn't necessarily a forum for a Q&A session or anything like that. We're here to, if you want to make comments on what you want to speak to, then you can make those comments. at this time, council's opinion of it is basically that it's being reviewed. You know, they're hopeful to have an official statement in the near future, but no resolutions or I would say anything has been addressed yet. So we're still looking into the issues that have been presented.
Okay, so
So to kind of expand on that, if I may, we did have an executive session. We've all talked about the issues that you have brought forth. And we have passed it on to our legal counsel as well as with CIRSA and other legal counsel. So we are having your concerns reviewed. It's just, we're not in a position where we can actually make any comments on it other than what we're being told. So.
okay, I guess my question goes back to, on carrying the petition, normally people's names are on the petition. And I thought it was just a simple oversight, so I was just asking who actually carried that petition. Because usually, I think it doesn't require two names. I'm just asking, from when I read the code, it appears it requires two names. And so it's been said SoCo Rocks, it's been said a group of certain concerned citizens. I'm just trying to find who really carried the petition to the citizens. That's one of my main questions, because I would like to ask them some questions. So that's why. I know that Miss Cindy Sovine was here giving her position on it, and she was representing SoCo is what she told me, in her position on why marijuana was good. So I'm just trying to figure that out. And the other, I guess, discussion I would have is the petitions were returned the first time for errors, and then they weren't sufficient, so then they did them again. And then at the second time, they turned them back in and a statement of sufficiency was issued. So what percent of signatures was on that statement of sufficiency, if I can confirm?
That's something that our attorneys are reviewing, so we'll have to get back with you on that. I have taken down your question as far as the request for who was on the petition. Did you have any other questions that you wanted us to?
Yes,
Okay,
because
we've already used the 2 minute or the 3 minutes, but if you can go through them, or if you could provide them, then we can get them addressed and brought back to you.
I can email them all to you if you would like. I guess my biggest question is, we know there's concerns with petitions, we know there's issues. Is there a way that, what I'm hoping is the city can take initiative and fix it? That's my question.
Fix it as
Without it being a
in,
major issue.
fix it as in,
The correct way. It appears that it never should have been put on the ballot. By looking at what I've seen and what I did the chorus on with all the petitions, it appears that the sufficiency wasn't meant to put it on the ballot, the number of signatures.
well, we have brought your concern to the councils or to our attorneys, so they're reviewing that concern and the questions. So
And then,
I will forward your questions to them so that way they can address those as well. But that's,
okay. And
as
then,
far as the discussion, I mean, this isn't the time for an open forum. This is the time when, if you have questions, we can forward them on to our
That's fine.
council. If the council can our legal counsel, then they can review it with you and go back. Or if you have a legal counsel already, do you
Not
know?
yet.
Okay,
but I'm hoping I don't have to do that. That's what I'm
Okay.
hoping. But what I'm being told by 3 different attorneys is that you may not be able to fix it yourself.
right.
So, and the last question or statement I have is, since you did have a Tabor question and a marijuana question, you separated those questions. When you separated them, did the citizens who signed the petitions give you guys permissions to separate them? That's another question.
Okay. Well, you're asking, and some of the questions that you're asking are pretty detailed questions that obviously we don't have those facts in front of us
Right.
right now. So,
Okay,
So I'd rather take that back and I'll take your questions back like we discussed. So
okay. In your statement, July 12th, live to everybody, you said they had paid for their, correct me if I'm wrong, you said they had paid the fee required to put the question on the ballot. That's paperless, that's normal. And that you had the correct signatures you needed, and therefore you were obligated to then write an ordinance. And I'm taking that straight from the 12th. Is that what happened, basically?
I will need to go back and review that. I
Okay.
can't say without going back to review. So what date was that again?
July 12th. 31 minutes.
Yeah, I slept a few times since then, but I can go back and check.
Okay.
31 minutes in.
Yeah, it's a bit, and so I think that that's very concerning.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Would anybody else like to speak to the council about a topic that's not on the agenda? Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none, we will move forward with the rest of the next item on the agenda, which is the city treasurer's report.
I don't have anything this evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
city clerk's report,
I don't have anything either.
city administrator report. Rob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have anything additional.
Okay, I did have a couple of items that were on the city administrator report that you probably don't see offhand since you're remote. But just as a couple of reminders, the city offices will be closed for Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday and Friday, November the 25th and 26th. We will be having a council breakfast on Wednesday, December the 1st at Subway at 7 a.m. So if you would like to talk to the council about any items, any topics, any concerns, comments, questions, ideas, please join us for the city council breakfast. We would love to have your input. That was a topic that was brought up many, many times during the election, that getting people involved in our community is a very important thing. So here is another opportunity for the month of December where you can come in to Subway at 7 a.m. on December the 1st to talk to any one of your city council members and department heads. Parade of Lights is on Friday, December the 3rd, 2021 at 6 p.m. The theme is Christmas for Cowboys and Cowgirls. The route was announced earlier today. You'll need to check with the Lamar Chamber of Commerce if you'd like to get more information as far as the route, as far as how to participate, if you'd like to do your own float, your own walking group, or if you would like to find out more about any of the other events that are happening on that same evening. Friends of the Library Month book sale is on December the 3rd and 4th at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Lamar Public Library garage. We do have a flyer. I will have ask Martha Alvarez, our communications director, to put that on our Facebook page and our website. The city Christmas party is on Friday, December the 17th at the Lamar Elks Lodge. Social hour will begin at 6 p.m. with the dinner following. Next item after that is reports and correspondence from the council. Do we have anything from the council?
I don't have anything.
Nothing here.
Mike? Anyone?
Yep.
Oscar?
Met with the golf board on 11/9. I'm gonna put tea time online, so you go online and reserve your tea time. This is really important. Gonna order fertilizer while it's still affordable. In fact, they ordered it in June while it was still low cost. They want cement for the bath by the shop. A letter to high school and colleges about maintaining the course when they have tournaments, and the kids that don't take very good care of them while they're out there. No dogs except service dogs on the course. We're gonna have an executive session for a contract for the employees. That's all I have on that.
Okay.
Airport. The board recommends Eaton wireless QT self-service fuel system. It's 60, I have it somewhere, 60-some thousand, 63,000, I believe. But there's a $945 per year subscription to it. Aviation, that's our engineers will be here next month to discuss the master plan on the 15th. The new taxiway that was redone. We're gonna have a walkthrough last Friday. Well, it should be open this week. and they would like to upgrade the water fountain in their lobby so you can fill water bottles. And I went out and talked to Marines while they were here, and they were very pleased with Lamar. They said it was a great place to be. They had no problems whatsoever, and everybody they dealt with did a good job. And that's it.
Okay. In correspondence with that, which you just stated, many of you may have seen the United States Marine Corps was here a couple of weeks ago. They had their 200th year celebration, I believe it was, here in Lamar, and they were all doing their training here for about a week. I did receive an email from Eric McSwan, who is the airport manager out there right now. And I wanted to share that email with the council that he stated, I just wanted to acknowledge all of the hard work that Morgan Becker has accomplished at the airport while the United States Marine Corps was here. I could not have accomplished everything that was happening here at the airport without her help. She was a crucial part of our success and an extremely valuable asset for the city of Lamar. He wanted to thank Morgan for all that she did and all that she does, and he wanted to let her know that he really appreciated that. He wanted to give her a recommendation or accommodations on that because while they were here, there was a significant amount of the Marines here, and it was quite a task to get their hotel rooms and coordinate lunches and dinners and all the different activities and events that they needed. So Morgan, as the community development director, was spearheading that and helping out, as well as Martha. But I wanted to make sure to pass that along, that she did a wonderful job. She was a great asset for us, and it was greatly appreciated. The other item that I wanted to mention is earlier today, I'd received a phone call from a concerned citizen, and I had also received an email from a group here in Lamar. It is Art by Cass and Leah. There was some concerns. They just started a new business where they're doing artwork on windows of the different businesses, where they're doing Christmas scenes, or they were doing Halloween scenes earlier or at the end of last month, and now they're doing Christmas scenes. There was one window that had some questionable language on it. It was something that was requested by the owner of the business, and they had went through and tried to help the customer and give the customer exactly what they wanted. However, there were some citizens in the community that were offended by the language, and as such, the minute they heard about it, they did take it down. She wanted me to let everybody know that she apologized for the mix-up on that, confusion for it. She did not want to offend anybody in any way, or they did not want to offend anybody in the way. The minute they saw that it was inappropriate, and somebody pointed it out, they did correct it, they did clean it up and removed it. Moving forward, they said they will be more aware of the appropriate types of artwork that is being placed out there, and they'll be more conscious about that. So they did want to apologize and share that. So I wanted to pass that along as well, because I thought that was very nice of them to step up, take the responsibility, and make the changes as necessary. We appreciate any new business that comes to town. We don't want to discourage them, but at the same token, it's nice for them to try to be part of the community. So I wanted to pass that on. Aside from that, do we have any other reports, correspondence, anything along that line? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the next item. Item number 1 is to consider potential purchase of property. This was something that I brought in a while back. We have a developer who has been working on a new business here in Lamar for about 2 years now. About 5 months ago, we ran into a situation where the property owner of the business that they wanted was needing to sell the property right away. So we had a decision, either the city step in to try to facilitate and help this new business come to Lamar, or we allow the business to be sold to somebody that was just going to let the property sit stagnant. So the city decided to negotiate with the property owner, and the city made the purchase of the WHO property, which is just the blue building on Main Street, and that is at 1002 North Main Street. The new developer is very interested in this property. We already have quite a few commitments. We've had quite a bit of work done already. The project is moving forward. The city is utilizing the time that we have while we own the property to take the blue building that's currently there, and we're going to be disassembling it, moving it to another location. The city will repurpose it and use it for storage for us to use. So it's kind of been a win-win for the city. We'll get a new great business. We've got a new building for storage. We've worked with local businesses to try to make this all happen. And I think it's been an all-around good project. However, the one thing that we are stuck with is that the developer for the drive-throughs that they're needing needs an additional 20 feet space behind that building. So now we're negotiating with the two property owners behind that current property to buy the additional 20 feet. Once that's done, we'll put the whole lot into one property and we'll be doing the sale. We have already negotiated out the price with the developer. We've already negotiated out the price with the two property owners for the extra 20 feet. And tonight, that's what I have for the council agenda, is for us to approve for the city to purchase those two properties. Now, I had given the council at our last meeting a copy of the contracts for those two parcels. The two parcels included one which was $25,000 and roughly $8,000 in-kind work. That's what it would take to purchase that property. The second property to the other owner would be $35,750, plus they wanted to a donation certificate for the other remaining portion to bring that amount up to what they were wanting to purchase it at. So the outright purchase price to the city would be $37,500 for one half of that 20 feet. The other half, the outright purchase price would be $25,000 and $8,000 in-kind work. So with that said, do we have any questions from the council before we vote on that or to approve the purchase of those two properties?
Have the contracts been reviewed, Lance? Everything's good on them?
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think the only thing we need on it is the clause about there's no continuing obligation.
Financial aspects of it?
We're good. We're gonna be fully reimbursed.
And I guess we're responsible to take down the fence that separates the two pieces of property now and dispose of that fence.
We can dispose it if we want to, or we can wait for the new developer to do that because they will be doing that as well. So as far as replacing the fence, they'll be doing that in part of their,
So we don't have to take it up and move it to the other new property boundary.
No, we've had the new property boundary marked, but as far as the fence itself being moved, they'll demolish that when we go to clear off the property or to turn it over.
Make a motion to buy the properties.
With,
second that.
can we put with the modifications as suggested by the attorney?
With modifications.
One second to the modifications.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to purchase the two parcels with the modifications as requested by the city attorney. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mike?
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Now we'll move on to new business. The first item on the new business is to accept the City of Lamar's 2022 optional coverage quotes and certificates of insurance renewal. This is brought in by our HR Director, Margaret Saldana. Margaret?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. So in your packet, you saw the optional coverages that Sursa sent to us in October. I apologize for not bringing it to council sooner. They sent it right at the 5th of when I was in open enrollment and trying to get our new city administrator on board and elections and so carefully on tonight. So the 5 optional coverages, they call them optional coverages because they're different from the And I think I gave you a pretty good explanation of what equipment are, the detaining medical coverage, the equipment breakdown coverage, the no-fault water line rupture and sewer backup, the property damage caused by members' operation of mobile equipment, our volunteer accident medical plan, and then they also sent us the certificates of insurance that we renew with each of the companies on the list, if you have in your packet. What I did not include for you all is the cost, so I have the breakdown for each of these, so that you can see what we paid last year. So here, I'm speaking right now. And what the difference is for those two. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
I think I sent you. You should have.
I have an electronic copy.
Yeah. As you can see by the detainee, we had a decrease from last year. The equipment breakdown policy did go up by 11.74%. The no-fault water line rupture stayed the same. Last year, we selected option 2. Mobile equipment stayed the same, the premium is the same, and BAMP is $2.48 for every volunteer that we paid. Last year, we paid $52.40. So I'm asking the council for approval to authorize the mayor to sign. If that's all the votes.
Quick question, was the option 2 sufficient for last year? The coverage, was the coverage sufficient?
Yes.
Did we use the equipment breakdown?
Breakdown. Trying to think of when was the last claim. I don't recall anything in 21 Oscar was using that. But it's like everything else, we don't have it.
Yeah. Okay.
I can certainly get back.
All right. The total premium isn't that much relative.
Or if you add all of the amounts up, it's just $22,661.
Yeah, it does say due to the frequency and severity of losses over the past few years, the carrier has imposed a rate increase. So it may not be us, but it's in
It's
the
a
group.
pooled, coverage.
I move we approve this and allow the mayor to sign it.
Thanks. We have a motion and a second to accept and authorize the mayor to sign. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2 for the new business is a resolution number 21-11-02, which is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado, setting the interest rate paid on utility deposit or customer utility deposits. This was brought in by the city clerk. Would you like to speak on that, Linda?
So every year we go through PUC to see what the interest rate for water and electric deposits are. And for 2022, the interest rate has gone to 0.08%, which was a decrease from 2021 of 0.66%.
Make a motion to accept the new.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution. Are there any final questions?
How long do we pay the interest on these deposits?
As long as the deposit's on file. So it could be the life of somebody with utilities, or it could be a year if they have good pay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. Moving right along, we have the next item on the agenda, which is the entertainment contract with Mata Productions for the Christmas Party DJ. This is brought in, initiated by Kristen McCray. Kristen?
So we are just asking for the council to approve this little agreement with Mata Productions for our DJ for our Christmas party.
Any questions?
Move we approve the contract and allow the mayor to sign.
I'll second that with the attorney's approval.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it.
So you'll just second it? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for Mata Productions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. Then the final item, well, last item that was scheduled was the discussion regarding election results. This was a discussion I wanted to have that I requested. We had a couple of items that needed to be discussed. One of them, of course, we did have our executive session on, we mentioned earlier in the meeting. But as we move forward, some of you may know I posted on my mayor page about and I mentioned it at the last meeting, and I mentioned it during our council forum, during the election. I've mentioned it numerous times that there is, the time between now, the time that the election happened and the time that businesses will even be able to apply for permits is going to be a full year out. We have a lot of steps in between point A to point B. There's been some questions and concerns that have been brought up that's putting things on a slowdown as well. And with that in mind, we're not looking at having anything done and ready until 2023, the first part of 2023. So I've tried to reiterate time and time again that these people that are very interested, that are ready to open up a business today, tomorrow, that are looking at investing in properties here in Lamar, it is at your own risk. We don't have any ordinances set. We don't have any zoning set. We don't have any details as far as how many, as far as what it's going to take to get a permit, what the regulations are, what the rules are. So when I hear about a business being purchased here in Lamar, a significant building being purchased by one of these entities, it's really concerning because that's a very big speculation at this time. We still have a lot of work to do between now and then. And as I said, some concerns have been brought up as well that need to be addressed. And so before we go very much farther with any of this, we want to make sure that we get all the questions answered and take care of things as we need to. So I wanted to take some time to discuss that, but also with the change of our council, when we very first originally started this whole discussion about marijuana in the city limits and it being put on the ballot, we had formed a committee that was out researching information. I know Anne Marie was one of the members of the committee. At the time, we had council member Rafael Rodriguez on it. And now that our council has changed some, I believe that one of the next steps we need to do in this process is to create and decide to create a new committee that's going to start researching some of this, going out and gathering this information to bring it back to a council so we can begin the work sessions, so that we can begin setting up public forums to have these discussions as we move forward. So Anne Marie, what are your thoughts on that part?
Absolutely. And we will do our best. Committees work well because we can really drill into the nitty gritty. Lance has already done some research. So some of it's just looking at all of the content that's available, trying to come up with things that we want to present. And it's a pretty well-formed committee, or it was. Treasurer, clerk, police chief, and 2 council members and Lance, if I remember correctly. So But yeah, it's a good ongoing work group. Unfortunately, we can't have entire council representation on it because of the sunshine laws, but we can keep people informed about what's occurring on it. And it's so multifaceted if we go into all of the forms of ordinances that we're going to have to consider.
Will the committee, take any suggestions from the community as far as concerns on where things would be placed or how it's going to be regulated? So that I'm saying this for the benefit of the community, and this has nothing to do with the election, but more to do with if the community has an opportunity to help shape that, they should.
Yes, I really think that,
Yeah.
Despite the election, where you were at, whether you wanted it or didn't want it, I'm taking it from the standpoint as we have it here. Now it's up to the council to structure this and mold this. We have this blob of clay that we need to structure and mold. And it's going to be as detailed or as loose as we want it to be. And I would rather have this committee work to get the input of the citizens, get the input of other communities, get the input of different entities to make this as detailed, as streamlined, and as fixed as possible. Because what we've learned from a lot of the other communities is they were very loose when they first started. And that's where you see communities that have 20 different facilities in their community, or where they have different issues or different concerns or legal battles because of the way it was laid out. And I want to try to avoid that if we can. And that's why we wanted to make this committee to go out and meet with these different communities, get the information, learn from their mistakes, and hopefully streamline this and get it exactly what we want. Because this is going to be up to the council to be as strict or as loose as we want it to be. And I think it's going to be important to have that committee guide not only what we're doing policy-wise or bring the information back so the council, to help the council guide this whole process, but also so that we can schedule town hall meetings, so we can schedule forum inputs, things of that nature. So that's kind of where I was hoping we would go. What are you guys' thoughts? I'll be down here too.
Well, based on what Manuel presented earlier, getting the community involved during the public forum, that was also a big outreach, or it was verbally communicated as well that the public would be involved in such situations as making resolutions and coming up with ideas. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, am I understanding then you're putting everything okay and you're moving forward with it as it sits, as the position you're taking right now?
We have a job to do in the meantime while our attorneys are working on
I'm
this.
just making
Yes.
sure I'm clear on it, because earlier it didn't sound like that, but now it does, so I want to make sure I'm clear on it. And then secondly, I would like to encourage this group to evaluate the petitions and who signed the petitions. And there's some of those petitions, because I've looked at a lot of them,
Mhm.
where there was 10 people living in a 2-bedroom house.
Okay.
Probably not true. So I think those really need to be vetted and considered that small amount of people is how it got on the petition, on the ballot. And that small amount of people is dictating for the town. So I would encourage the public forums that you're talking about. I would encourage a lot of public involvement, because when you look at the petitions, you'll understand what you're doing.
And that's why I'd asked you to speak during the other portion of that, because we were going to be talking in this section about doing business and moving forward, because we do have a lot of work to do. It would be nice to just ignore it because we don't want it. If that's the case that most people would like to have, but that's not our luxury. Our luxury, or what we have to do is a job. And as of right now, as of today, as of this moment, the people in the community have voted, and as the council members, we have to do what our community has voted us to do. So we're moving forward from that standpoint. Now, if things change, if more information comes in and it changes 2 days from now, an hour from now, or a week from now, we'll modify that and address that way. But as of right now, we're just how would you say, playing the cards that we have in our deck. What were you
And I
saying?
would be happy to provide research.
We want to make sure that we are prepared.
Right.
Because we don't want to look bad. We want to make sure that we get this molded so that if it does, if it continues on or whatever we have to do, then we're not hustling to try to make these decisions.
Right.
I have a town that I would like to check. Trinidad.
Yes, they are on our list. They are on our list that we have, you engaged them before, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, we had a conversation with Trinidad.
So we've had engagement with them already, as well as Los Animas, Rocky Ford, and a few others, so.
I have another, I guess, question or statement. Is there a central person who people would contact? I mean, so this way, if people are getting questions or calls, is there like a central entity? It's like, if you have questions about how it's progressing, what things are happening, that they can contact that one central location instead of maybe if they're trying to call city council members or trying to call you or so that way, we could just say, these are where the calls go, concerning where things are at, where things are going, what changes are being made to molding this thing. Because if they're saying, well, how soon can we put an application? And we're like, well, we don't even have an application. Well, is that even right for me to answer those questions? Who would they talk to?
Right. So similar to our alcohol licensing, the city clerk manages a lot of the alcohol licenses. And I would think moving forward, that's a similar area where we would be wanting to focus on. And when I did my post last week, I did put in that post that if you have questions, if you are eager and you want to get more information, please call the city clerk's office and ask to be put on the mailing list. And we will inform them of any meetings, any discussions, any further things that would be related to that moving forward. So we will be creating a mailing list for emails. So if you do want to be included in that email list, please contact Linda and let her know your email address or cell phone number. And that way we can inform you if there are the public forums and meetings of that. Would that be sufficient?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. So to avoid having, any of the city council members getting calls saying, hey, what do we need to do to, file or any questions would all be directed into one central location. So that way they're not getting a bunch of different answers. They're getting the same person every time and they're getting the answers from one location rather than us trying to filter and field those calls.
Is that okay with you, Linda, to do that?
Your direction, yes.
Okay. Well, we're just trying to create that list. And if you want to if we want to just have Martha even set that up, the list, so that she can set up one of her mailing groups that she does.
That's fine. I can take emails and then when you guys put out.
A notice of, then we can just put it out that way. Okay. You were also saying that you had interrupted with the question. Did you have anything else to add or?
I lost my train of thought on that thing where I was when I got interrupted on that.
Yeah,
So I couldn't elaborate anymore on that.
okay. Oscar, do you have anything you want to add or?
Nope.
Mike?
I don't believe so.
No.
I think it'd be a good idea to have an investigative group to continue on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be important moving forward. One of the pieces of that puzzle, of course, was Ralphie, who was on our council before, and now he's gone. So that leaves the question, is there anybody on the council that would like to make a nomination or would like to participate in that committee or nominate yourself for that committee? Would be one question. The other question is, do we want to expand that committee to include, for instance, the sheriff's department and see if we want to invite Ralphie to remain on it?
So I think we do need to reach out to Prowers County and see if they would like to designate whether it's law enforcement or somebody in administration, just because everything we do in council could have ramifications to Prowers County as well.
That's fair.
If it pleases council, I would like to get on that committee or nominate myself.
I'll nominate Joe.
I'll second it.
I heard that train coming. Was there anybody else that was interested in participating in it before we just?
Yeah, if somebody else wants to get on, I'm willing to step off.
I know she's a busy girl, so is it really that bad? Lady.
Manual?
No, it's not really that bad. It's just a lot, extra meetings. And when we add our additional roles, like she's at the college and has plenty of meetings and she covers for me on occasion as well.
I nominate the Ms.
I'm going to decline. But I do have every confidence in Anne Marie as one of the senior representatives of Ward 1,
The very oldest
the
member.
oldest member of the council. So
And they'll bring it back to the council and we'll discuss it during our work sessions and our town hall meetings. So it's not, they won't be making all the decisions. They're just doing the fact gathering to bring back to us. So.
I have a suggestion too, it might be good when you're making these decisions. PEP, as far as economic prosperity, there's a big group of people there, and they may have some resources to help you with some of the research.
Okay.
Just a thought.
So I'm on the executive committee for PAP, so I can
She's kind
loop
of our
them
liaison
in.
there.
Yeah,
I just thought they might have
Yes.
some resources to help you.
yes. And she's still gaining expertise on how to work with that industry.
Our liaison, are you still our liaison for PEP?
Yeah. I think
As of right now, we need to redo that next meeting, but yes. So,
I have a suggestion.
uh-huh.
So since the time, it looks like it's gonna get tense in this whole situation, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have somebody from the community that's not on the city council, that's not employed by the city, it's not a city attorney, a city clerk. That way, maybe it would open our liaison with the citizens. And then this person could hunt out other people in the community to get questions and bring in so that so many of us don't have to try and go get these questions from the community. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say?
Are you saying have them work with the committee or?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I guess I was just wondering. So we were looking at adding in the county as of right now, and then adding with the people that were working on the committee. And their job is to set up and bring the information in and set up with town hall meetings and things like that. How would we determine which citizen?
I guess whichever one.
Because that
Mark's
could be,
allowed.
because that could be a pretty contentious debate. I know there's probably 100 people that I know of that would love to be on that.
I think our focus is the county or the city's process right now.
Yeah.
The cities,
work-
It's a work group for the city's process. So it needs to stay there and we need to have town hall meetings for the public's input or you're going to have a mess.
yeah, that's what I was worried of. Well, that's what I was wondering. And then how do you determine which one or which two or which, and if you get too many, then you end up with a town hall meeting anyhow. That's going to happen every week.
And it won't be productive.
Yeah.
Like you're talking work sessions and town halls, I think those are the forms where the public has a lot of
So
input and say in those matters. We're all assuming that this is going forward at this time, but and we have to fill that committee role anyways. So the question on this. So I think that the public's input in this scenario would be important in that whole setting, less than just trying to find one person that can try and represent the whole community or avoid.
Yeah, because you can have pretty, well, we saw with the election in itself, there are wide views on, who wants what and what the intent would be. We could have one person that wants 100 shops and one that wants 2 shops and then one that wants no shops and one that wants more manufacturing.
Those that want shops, maybe,
Right.
but done bigger.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of hard to find which individual would be best. Whereas if we just left it for the town forums, they could all speak and let us know what they're doing, what their input is at that time. And we're not just relying on one person or 2 people. So that's what I was trying to make it more broad. Maybe what we should do is plan to have more town meetings for that purpose rather than once we gather the information. And as we start molding it and structuring it, then we can have that town meeting and say, okay, this is where we're at so far. How are we doing? What do you think we should change? And then we form it a little bit more and get it more detailed. Okay, this is where we're at so far. What do you think we should do next? And kind of move it that way until we get it refined to the real point. I think that's the purpose for this, is to get the group to get the information and to start helping us create that foundation. So Rob, what are your thoughts on there? I know you're up there listening.
Well, it's probably a better idea not to have somebody from the city involved in the committee, the council's committee. Like you said, it becomes, contentious on who chose that person and how did that person get chosen. I think it's better to just let them have their input at the town halls.
Okay. What do you think about the direction of this, doing it this way with creating the committee to gather the facts, bring it into the council, do some work sessions, and then do the town hall meetings to let us know the direction we're going and so on? What about that?
Well, that's the point. Yeah, that's the purpose of having the committees and the boards, is to do, the council has the final decision anyway. So you're using them as a tool to get the right decision made. So yeah, that's what you should be doing.
Okay. Just wanted to verify with you that you were good with the direction. Okay. So we did have kind of a informal nomination of Joe, and I asked if there was anybody else that would like to participate. Anne Marie was willing to give up her seat, but nobody wanted to take. Anne Marie, you're just that great.
I nominate Mike.
To be on the committee. Would you want to be on the committee or in place of Anne Marie, or would you want to stay on the council portion of it and just get the feedback after they brought it in? What are your thoughts?
Next, because I really want to be involved in it, but I don't know how much time I can take off from my work.
Okay.
Because there's only two of us and we still have to keep people's cars running up and down the streets.
Yeah. And we'll have the council meetings, the work sessions and the forums. So that'll be, you'll still be involved. You're not being left out by meetings. It's just the additional. So it's up to you if you're game for it or not.
I think I would like to decline.
Okay. Okay. All right. So if that's good with the council, everybody will stick with Joe and Anne Marie. Head nod. It's not really a formal vote. It's more of direction for the council. Any other comments that we want to add to this moving forward as we move forward with the election process, or not the election process, but the process of creating this new industry in our community? Any other comments? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
There was a public health report that came out. You guys saw, I think you need to include that guy in your group, the public health people.
Matt?
Have statistics of what's happening, and that'd be valuable information when you're talking about our youth.
Is that the youth reports that Matt Bizak brought in? Okay.
And then we have several reports that are very helpful when he has access to all the data and on multiple communities.
Okay.
So I thought it might be helpful to you guys.
Okay. That's a good one to add. Okay. Anything else we want to add? There's no decision to make on this, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is miscellaneous. Are there any other miscellaneous items we need to discuss?
On this is just information on the memorial service they had at the cemetery. The Veterans Memorial. There was about, I would say about 100 or so people. The Marines were there.
Oh, for Veterans Day. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And Manuel did the prayer and he did an awesome job on the prayer. He covered all the families and the veterans of the past and most and served. And I commended him on Job well done.
Great job. Thank you. What were you asking about first responders? Remember offhand, I'll have to come back with that. Okay, anything else that we need to go over? Seeing nothing, anything else? We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
During.